Hey everyone, welcome back. This is Rob Adams of the Actors Workshop, and today we're going to talk about mentality. In the past several weeks, we've talked about different things when it comes to our technique, craft, etc., the approach, understanding, convincing. All of these things kind of connect with each other. And in class we talk about the domino effect of you hit that first domino and they go, and that is a technique thing, and it is also a craft thing. So on the technique side, it starts with concentration and then listening and then talking and in the eyes and all those things. And those dominoes start to fall if the concentration domino falls. On the craft side or the mentality side, the first thing that has to go is how do you approach mentally the work? How do you approach mentally the business? So from the business side, it's not only how you sell yourself and approach it that way, but also the mentality of what the goal is. And the other day on my Instagram, I had posted a quote from Neil Peart, the drummer of Rush, who recently passed away in January. And I thought this was a really strong quote for what we're talking about. And it says, the important thing is, if you fail once, or your luck is bad at this time, the dream is still there. Then he goes on to say, a dream is only over if you give it up or it comes true. To me, that is a mental approach, right? To realize that no matter what happens, we're going to have the ups, we're going to have the downs, we're going to have all of those things going on, but to never give up. That is a mental drive. It's a mental approach. And as long as I don't give up, the dream is still there to come true. The only way I'm going to lose that is if I give up. So that is one way to think about a mental approach or a mentality, etc. The other thing, which I want to get a little deeper in, is how do you mentally approach the work? We hear in acting a lot about getting into the character and character analysis and all those different kinds of things. I'm not a believer of that. I don't think that you can get into a character. If you're getting into something, you're leaving you. So what do you have? What's your base? Your brain. And if this is working, this isn't. Right? So you're not really getting into a character. You're not really creating a character. You are taking a character, which I would always deem as a name on a page, right? And you are making that your own. So instead of my name being Rob Adams, now my name is whatever is given to me, right? Joe Smith. That is as generic as it gets, right? And Joe Smith is no different than Rob Adams except in name. What they are hiring me for is to bring in my energy, my life, my being in front of the screen. Now, where the mental approach comes into play is I'm married, have 3 kids, live this life as an acting coach, a football coach, etc. All that has to go away. The mental approach now has to be the situation that I have been put in, whatever that is. And we kind of talked about that last week with the, challenging yourself or convincing your partner that you are a bank robber or you're this or you're that, whatever, right? Well, it's the same kind of thing. Is in order for me to convince my partner, I've got to believe in it, right? And so if you think about people in history, right? And we'll use Abraham Lincoln. He never sat in the White House and went, I am the president, I am the president, I am the president. He knew he was the president. So his mental approach was to be president. Well, that's what I want to get to as an actor, is not sit there and think I am the president and how would I act if I was the president. My approach wants to be, I am the president and now I'm going to deal with things as the president. That's the best way that you can approach this in the mental way. So what I try to do and what I try to teach my students is, for this moment of time, this becomes my reality. Everything goes away and this becomes my reality. And it opens up my mind to the possibilities. We were doing scenes yesterday morning from Dances with Wolves. And, some of the students were part of the Cherokee tribe and talking about the white man invading. And I said to them, right now, you have to have the mentality of hating the white man for what they've done to you. And that's a hard thing when you just don't think that way, right? When you just don't have the hate feeling in you. Even though we all have hate in us, most people don't use it. They use it as a pissed off term. I hate you, but they don't really mean that, right? So to have a true, genuine hate towards something or someone or some group is very hard to do, because you have to have a different mental approach to trigger that, to bring it out. And it's not something I want my students to consciously do. I want them to think about it so it registers in the subconscious. So when they're doing their work, it just triggers and then boom, it comes out. And that's what makes strong acting. Or, in another class, we were working on Brooklyn, and I was telling the class, Wednesday night, hey, look, for a couple minutes of a scene, you can love anybody. You just have to mentally believe that you love this person, and then it becomes a feeling. Because once again, in real life, I don't sit here and go, I love my wife, I love my wife, I know I love my wife. So I don't have to think about it. I just do. Well, that's the mental approach I want in my acting, that I just love you. I just do. Don't have to think about it. I just know, right? And the more that you can have that kind of mental approach to your work, what starts to happen over and over and over again is you're building this muscle memory of reality. So what starts to happen is you walk on the set and it just flips. I always talk about in class that switch flipping on and off. It just flips, and this becomes your reality, and you go, and your mental approach is just built in, right? I don't have to sit there and break it down or create it or pretend or whatever words that these people use in lieu of real film acting, which is behavior, right? And that is the mental approach. And then what starts to happen is people believe you. Not only your partners, but the audience. And once again, like we talked about last week, if I'm convincing my partner and they believe me, the audience will take the journey and believe me too. So as you see, it does connect. But for me, it really comes down to the mental approach. How I mentally approach this business, and how I mentally approach my work. And once again, if I understand who and what I am, which I do, I can be me in any circumstance and have fun doing it, and have hate doing it, and have anger doing it, and have sadness doing it, and have happiness doing it, and all these other feelings. I can be frustrated and embarrassed and have a bruised ego and feel my pride being attacked, and all these other things that we as humans go through that we don't think about, right? You ask an actor, you're talking about emotions, and what do actors tell you? I can cry on cue. You don't hear them say, oh, I can have my ego bruised on cue. I can feel frustrated on cue. Nobody thinks that way. Those are emotions that we feel more than sadness. We feel frustrated more than sadness. We feel embarrassed more than sadness. But yet we always go to the sadness because we think that's the extreme thing. That's what happens when you're making it up. When you let it happen, those smaller feelings, emotions come out that we have more on a regular basis than the ones that we think that we need to have. And if you can approach it that way, the behavior is going to be truthful, authentic, real, and your partners, people you're working with, right? Either be one person or more than one person. And then they're going to believe it. Then the audience believes it. And that's what makes you a good actor. So that is my thought on mentality. Hopefully, once again, this helps you. I really am enjoying the comments, and I'm glad that some of the comments are what we're exactly talking about. Well, wow, that really changed the way I thought about this, or well, that's a good point, or whatever. I think that's great, and I think you need to continue to leave comments for not only me to read and be able to respond if needed, but also for other people to read and kind of engage in this thought process. So I think it's fabulous. Also, check out my website, theactorsworkshop.com. See what we do. If you're not a student and you have interest, I will continue to do these videos, and I hopefully they continue to help. I know they help my students, right? Hopefully it triggers some people also who are not students to be helped and possibly want to venture into the workshop and see what we do. We do a lot of fun things, and we do a lot of true film things. And we go a lot deeper than the stuff that these people want to teach, the idea of acting. We're going to teach the real acting. So if you want to give it a chance, please reach out. I hope you guys have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week with a new video.